recording it. You're recording. I can't come. I'm not able to be there, but I really don't want to miss it. And hopefully some other people will be joining us in time. Sometimes it just gradually fills up. But it's great to see you. Fantastic. And thank you so very, very much for coming and blessing us with your association. So, okay, I'm just going to give a really short introduction to Madhavananda Prabhu, and then I'm going to hand it over to you because the last thing we want when you're there is to hear me. So, okay, so Madhavananda Prabhu is an author, a researcher, and a speaker on Gaudiya Vaishnavism, and he's the director of Gora, Gora, which maybe, will you have a chance to say something about that? Because I know it's something that's very important for you, important to you. So hopefully you'll have the opportunity to say something, but it's the Gaudiya Odia Research Association, the Puri branch of the BRC, the Bhaktivedanta Research Center. And he's also the managing editor of ISKCON Gopalju Publications. So anyone who's read, well, if you get Krishna Katamrita magazine, or if you've read any of the books of Srila Guru Govinda Maharaj, then these are all published by Gopalju Publications. He was born in the United States of America in 1960, and after coming in contact with Srila Prabhupada's books in 1972, he started chanting in 1979 and joined the ISKCON Los Angeles Temple in 1982. From that time, he performed various services in Los Angeles, Boulder, Colorado, Seattle, Washington, and Alachua, Florida, as a Sankirtan devotee, a Bhakta leader, a Pujari, and a temple president. On the instruction of his spiritual master, Sri Srimad Gaura Govinda Swami Maharaj, he moved to Odisha in 1993, where he has been based ever since. From 1994, he has been rendering lectures of his spiritual master into books and articles. Gaura Govinda Maharaj instructed him to make magazines about Krishna and speak about Krishna. Thus, Madhavananda Prabhu considers spreading the glories of Krishna and Krishna Katha his life's mission. Some of his regular contributions are the thematic Sri Krishna Katamrita magazine, Sri Krishna Katamrita Bindu, which is the fortnightly e-magazine, which I know a few of our devotees here get. And that's now into well over 500 issues. It comes out every 2 weeks on Ekadashi, generally on Ekadashi or just around Ekadashi, just depending on where you are in the world. And apart from publishing work, he travels worldwide, giving really wonderful seminars and classes, and he facilitates parikrams and retreats in Jagannath Puri. I will say from a personal point of view that one of the defining moments of my life was spending a week in Jagannath Puri with Madhavananda Prabhu 3 years ago, and my life has never been the same since. And I'm not saying that to flatter him. I'm saying it because it really was one of the sweetest moments of my life. And he has a special interest in researching esoteric Gaudiya topics, subjects about Lord Jagannath, as well as the culture and sacred places of Odia Gaudiya Vaishnavism. He's contributed to the Journal of Vaishnav Studies and Back to Godhead. He's written, compiled, and contributed over a dozen books, including Gopalju, the deity of Sri Gaura Govinda Maharaj, How to Find Guru, Vaishnav Institutions and the Sweet Dealings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, The Embankment of Separation, Mathura Meets Vrindavan, My Revered Spiritual Master, and When Good Fortune Arises, The Life and Teachings of Sri Srimad Gaura Govinda Swami Maharaj. And we're going to include the link in the chat box for where you can subscribe to Gopalju magazine, the fortnightly e-magazine. So anyone that's not subscribing to it, please subscribe to it. I'll include the link here. And this was his official biography. I'm going to say unofficially that Madhavananda Prabhu is one of the sweetest people in the world. And I feel absolutely honored to count him as a friend. And I will say that this year in Jagannath Puri, I experienced the true mood of Jagannath Puri, which was separation anxiety. Because just as Lord Chaitanya showed the mood of separation from Krishna in Puri, I felt acute separation from Madhavananda and Krishna Kund, and I'm just gasping for air, waiting for the moment when we can reunite in Hungary in a few months. And on that note, I'm going to hand you all over to him, and Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Gee, thanks, Ramananda Prabhu. I hope everybody doesn't hate me after that. He likes to, he's very kind to say that. It reminds me of a prayer that I heard once. That, Dear God, please let me be the kind of person that my cat thinks I am. So you can hear me okay, Ramananda Prabhu? All right, I can't hear you now.
I'm just realized I'm muted. Yeah, it's okay, Prabhu. It's good. It's good.
So we'll go ahead and start. So I don't know everybody here. It's a big disadvantage because really, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in one purport in his Sartha Darshini in the 4th canto, he says that the bliss, the taste of Krishna consciousness is in associating with devotees. Not even in the act of japa, not even in the act of kirtan, not even in the act of deity worship, but the real bliss is when we do those things in association with devotees. And as we're not impersonalists, there's more and more bliss when we know the devotees more intimately. So I have to apologize to all of you. I don't know everybody here, but Ramananda Prabhu thinks very highly of you. So I can see that's very good. So I'd like to go on a little journey with you today. I don't know how many of you are what level of bhakti. Actually, you know, I'll tell you one of my pet peeves, just personally a private thing. I do a lot of speaking around the world, and I never like it when devotees tell me that you should speak in a very simple way because these are all brand new people. I've seen brand new people who make your socks come off. It's brand new people. It's a very hard thing to say who's been practicing what in what lifetime. So anyway, but at the same time, I don't know all of you. So I want to say a little something about Jagannath Puri. And I'd like to just begin with a few prayers. So just bear with me for a minute. Gora Graganya Gana Go to Goloru Haram Goranga Gura Chamagopya Kopa Briksham Gopala Gada Ratidam Yati Singha Gora Govinda Deshi Kavaram Satatanamani Uttama Adama Kichuna Bachila Jachiya Dile Kakola Pahe Premananda Hemona Goranga Hridaya Dadiya Bola Goranga Kaha Goranga Laha Gorangera Namare Jai Jana Goranga Bhaje Se Hoyamara Prare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Yeshaiva Padambuja Bhakti Labhya Prema Vidana Padama Pumata Tismai Jagan Mangalam. Can I have some water, please? Yeah, please. Tismai Jagan Mangala Mangalaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Madhgavirapi Gopala Sri Kriyat Kripaya Judi Tadaiva Sambhaya Pitva Rishe Yustat Priya Janaha Shri Krishna Krishna Chaitanya Sasanatana Rupaka Gopala Raghunatha Brajabala Bapahimam Vanchakopatarubhischa Kripa Sindhu Bhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Kadachit Kalindita Tavipina Sangita Karavo, Udaviri Nadivadana Kamalasvada Madhupa, Brahma Shambhu Brahma Marapati Ganesha Chitapado, Jagannath Swami Noyana Patagami Bhavatune. So it's nice to see all of you. You know, one thing I really like when I see, I don't know all your names, so please excuse me, but when I see Mohini Devi and I see Barnia, Rowan, and I see all the books behind all of you. that really warms my heart. My mother was a librarian and I grew up with books, and we have a pretty good library. Ramananda Prabhu asked me to say a little something about that. I'll just say a couple of words. We have a project called Gora, Gora. Now, if you happen to read Bengali language, which I don't know if all of you do, maybe some of you, you may know that according to our English transliteration system, a common spelling for the name of Gauranga Mahaprabhu is Gora with a long A on the end. And that it's a little differently spelled than sometimes a general Gaura. Gora, in this case, means that person who's two persons together, Govinda Radha. So Gora, those two syllables put together become Gora, Govinda and Radha. In our case, it's an acronym standing for the Gaudiya Odia Research Association. And it's our desire, it was a desire of our revered spiritual master, Govinda Maharaj and Siksha Guru Fakir Mohan Prabhu, that we research rare, little-known Odia literatures in the Gaudiya tradition, which for the most part, very few people know about it. I think, as Ramananda maybe mentioned, I have to apologize for that long thing that he said. He's very flattering. If you want to borrow money from me, Ramananda Prabhu, just you're out of luck because I really don't have any money. Anyway, he's saying all these nice things. But we're part of the branch of the BRC, the Bhaktivedanta Research Center, which is a project which is close to ISKCON. It's mostly ISKCON devotees, but it's actually not part of ISKCON. It's a scholarly project which is dedicated to researching and preserving little-known books, and that's part of what we want to do in Jagannath Puri. So, having said all that, let's go on a little journey and drink a little water. So today, I'd like to take you to a very amazing place, and that's Jagannath Puri Dham. Let me just share the screen for a minute with you. Oh dear. Somehow it's not showing me what I'm looking at. Security. I'd like to show you some pictures. It's just giving me a little bit of a hard time with some technical thing. My computer's in the shop right now. It keeps having some troubles. So let's see. I don't know. Come on. Screen recording. Files and folders.
If it's not working, Prabhu, if yourself or Krishna Kund want to send me the things, I can share them on my screen because we're both co-hosts.
Okay, it'll be a little complicated if I do that, although that's a possibility. Yeah, I guess that's what we're going to have to do. It's the problem is that I've got about 10 different pictures, and the names are not going to come through if I send them to you on WhatsApp. it's going to be a little complicated. Anyway, we'll just kind of just pretend that we're in India.
Would it be if it doesn't work? Is it an option that I can bring up my browser and I can just do searches of image searches for whatever it is that you're looking for, and then we can bring it up on the screen? Is that?
That's not an option.
Okay.
You can share this picture right here that I just sent you. We can do it that way. We can send it to you.
Let me get my WhatsApp.
Yeah, just if you double click on it and then you go to Zoom and you go to share screen, it should be one of the options. Here with me, when I try to click on it, it tells me I have to open system preferences and grant access, and I grant access and it's still not doing anything. So.
Hold on. Oh, desktop. No, that's not it. Technical things.
I'm sorry, I was going to be on a few minutes early too.
Oh, there it is. I got it. I've got it. Okay. Is that okay?
Yeah, it's such an awesome picture, isn't it? So this is a Jagannath temple in Puri. Jagannath is one of the Chari Dhams. Bhadrak Ashram, Dwarka, Rameshwaram, and Jagannath Puri are considered to be the 4 different main Dhams. Bhadrak Ashram is a Dham in Satya Yuga. Rameshwaram is a Dham in Treta Yuga. Dwarka is a Dham in Dwapara Yuga. And Jagannath Puri is considered to be the Dham in Kali Yuga. But if we contemplate this Dham, it's a very mysterious place. By definition, in the Skanda Purana, there's a long section about the glories of Jagannath Puri. And one of the verses there describes Rahashyam etat paramam Vishnu Sanamanutam, that this place, which is Stanamanutamam, very excellent place, it's Rahashyam etat. It's a very, very confidential place. So just like all of us have different names, nicknames, and your mother calls you Boo Boo, and your friend calls you Buddy, and whatever. We all have so many different nicknames which are indicative of different qualities we have. So also Jagannath Puri Dham and all the Dhams have different names. And if we just speak a little bit about some of the different names of Jagannath Puri, we'll get some clue about the nature of this Dham. Jagannath Puri is known as Gupta Dham, which means a hidden place. Jagannath Puri is known as Das Avatar Ketra, or the place of 10 different avatars. It's known as Durlabha Ketra, which means a very difficult place to enter into. It's known as Purushottam Dham, the place or the abode of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Jagannath Puri is considered to be a manifestation of the spiritual world. And just like we have in modern Western literature and filmography, we have portals, and someone goes through a portal and they go to another planet or another dimension or something. So Vedic literature speaks about such a thing. There are portals in this world by which we can go through, we can come to another place. And these are known as the Holy Dhams. Jagannath Puri is one such place. So our project today is to try to understand a little something about Jagannath Puri. I'm going to share another picture with Ramananda just now. Let's see. This is another picture of the Jagannath Mandir. As soon as you get that, you can put that up. It's a beautiful photo. I think somebody did that in Photoshop, but I really like it. It's nice, isn't it, Krishna? Yeah. Let's see. I have a third one too. Actually, there's so many different pictures. Usually with my computer, one thing I like very much is Gaudiya art and literature. And we have a lot of rare paintings and photos and things on our computer, which is in the shop right now. Hopefully going to be fixed. Let's see. So here's another picture of the Jagannath Mandir, also with the moon behind it. It makes it look very, very mystical. So a question comes before us, those Gaudiya Vaishnavas. What is Jagannath Puri? Srila Prabhupada, in one lecture, I'll share a fourth picture of the Jagannath Mandir in just a second. Srila Prabhupada in one lecture in Vrindavan once, he commented that there are two different considerations, which he addressed as Smarta Vichar and Goswami Vichar. Smarta Vichar means a consideration of the Smarta Brahmins, who are generally followers of Sripad Shankaracharya, and they're kind of really into the rules and regulations and all that. Whereas the Goswami Vichar, Vichar means consideration, the consideration of the six Goswamis and the followers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And I think that probably there's no other place where you find these two very different considerations so much present than you do in Jagannath Puri. It's a place where some people go and they say you have to shave your head, you have to take bath according to some shastras in Panchatirtha, in the ocean, in Narendra Sarovar, and Indradumna Sarovar. There's 5 different places you take bath, you shave your head, you fast, and you go to the Jagannath Mandir before you do anything. There's certain protocols, certain rules and things. But we hear in Chaitanya Charitamrita, in Madhya Lila chapter 11, the Veda Kirtan pastimes, that when the associates of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu first arrived in Jagannath Puri, Maharaj Prataparudra, who was the king at that time of Puri, was watching on top of the roof of his palace, and his trusted advisor, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, was next to him. And Sarvabhauma was introducing to Maharaj Prataparudra by way of pointing out the different associates of Mahaprabhu, and this one is Nityananda, this one is Advaitacharya, this one is Shivananda Sain, this one is Gopinathacharya, etc., etc. And Maharaj Prataparudra was very confused. And some of the things that are said there are very interesting. He commented, he said that I've seen kirtan many times before, but I've never seen kirtan like this. So that there's kirtan traditionally in Orissa. In fact, there's a fairly common song in Orissa. They say that Rama Nama Ladua, Krishna Nama Gi, Hari Nama Kanda Kira Gori Gori Pi. It's a song glorifying the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and how the name of Lord Ram is like a ladu, and you take that ladu, the name of Lord Ram, you add the name of Krishna, which is like nice ghee, and then you add the name of Hari, which is like kandakira sweet rice, and you mix the 3 together and you drink that. So throughout Jagannath, throughout Orissa, you'll find, if you're ever in Orissa around Ekadasi time, no matter practically where you are, whether you're in the big city of Bhubaneswar, you're in Jagannath Puri, you're in some small village, practically wherever I'm at, every Ekadasi, I hear 24-hour Hare Krishna Kirtan. It's a tradition. So Maharaj Prataparudra was familiar with that, and he asked Sarvabhauma, I've seen kirtan before, but I haven't seen kirtan like this. And then he said, what are these guys doing? Everybody knows you're supposed to follow all these rules and take bath here and there and shave your head and go see Jagannath, but they're not doing that. They're not fasting, they're not taking bath, they're not shaving their head, they're not going to see Jagannath. They're all just running to see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. As Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said, well, they're a little different kind of people. So Jagannath Puri is a place both of the Smartas, Smarta consideration, and the consideration of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now, for those of you who have studied the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, you may be aware, we can take the picture down, I think now. You may be aware that that Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he describes that Mahaprabhu's most intimate pastimes were in Jagannath Puri. In fact, in the beginning, if you're really a scholar of Chaitanya Charitamrita, some friends of mine are, you may know in the sixth verse of the Adi Lila of Chaitanya Charitamrita, Shri Radhaya Pranaya Mahima Kiddhisova Nayaya Viswadyoyana Bhuta Madhurima Kiddhisova Madhya Sokyam Chashimana Nabhava Kiddhisam Viti Lovat Samajana Sachigarva Sindhu Harindu. It speaks about the 3 desires that Krishna had, which are unfulfilled in Krishna Lila, and by which he came as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to fulfill. And Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says that those three desires, paradoxically, were fulfilled in Jagannath Puri. But they were not fulfilled in Mayapur. They were not fulfilled during his travels in South India. They were not fulfilled during his visit even to Vrindavan. How do we understand that? So if we want to understand something about this nature of Jagannath Puri, just like we can understand something about a person, and I could, Mohini Devi, I could say she's a very scholarly person. She wears glasses, means she probably was reading a lot, maybe under the covers in her bed when she was a young child with a light, like I used to do. I have to wear glasses because of that. And she likes books a whole lot. So I could say that about her, but that's very external and very shallow, actually. And to really say something deep about her would require something more. So to just say that Jagannath Puri is special because of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that's okay, but what mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and what is it that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sees in Jagannath Puri? What was his purpose there? What was it that he found fulfilling there? My Guru Maharaj used to comment that if you want to understand Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you have to understand Srimati Radharani. That's a very, very esoteric thing. So let's look at that for just a moment. What is the mood of Srimati Radharani toward the Holy Dham? There's a book some of you may be familiar with called Garga Samhita. Interesting book. We could speak something about the history of it and the source of it and things, but that's a whole other kind of literary subject. But the Garga Samhita tells a story about Krishna and Vrindavan. And in the beginning of it, it speaks about how the demigods, just as in the Bhagavatam's description described, the demigods were suffering because of the demons. And they went to Lord Vishnu for help. Lord Vishnu in the Garga Samhita told them, well, there's really nothing I can do. You have to go to my boss. Well, who's your boss? And my boss is Krishna. And so they went to Goloka Vrindavan. And in Goloka Vrindavan, the demigods presented the problems. There's all these guys, all these terrible demons, Shishupal, Dantavakra, Kamsa, and others, and you've got to come and do something. And so then Krishna said, very well, I'll come, I'll do it. And the demigods were very happy, and they left. At that time, Krishna turned around, and he saw Srimati Radharani was sitting there. And Radharani was looking very quiet, and perhaps with her head down. And she looked a little unhappy. And Krishna immediately asked her, so my Priyatama, my dear, what's wrong? And Srimati Radharani said, well, you're Swarat, you're independent, you can do whatever you like. I can't control you. You go. You want to go to Earth planet, you go. But I have to tell you that if you go and you leave me here, then I'm going to die. And then Krishna said, no. You will also come with me. There's no question of me going by myself. You also have to come with me. And then Srimati Radharani spoke a beautiful verse in Sanskrit. Yatra Bindavanam Nasti. Yatra no Govardhan Nasti. Yatra no Jamana Nadi. Tatra Namana Suk. She said that I have no manasuk, means happiness. I have no happiness where these three things mark it. These three things are not present. The Vrindavan forest, Govardhan Hill, and the Jamuna River. She specifically mentions those three. And then Krishna said, no, it's okay. They're also coming along with us. And Boma Vrindavan became manifest with the Vrindavan forest, Govardhan Hill, and Jamuna River. So this is Radharani's mood toward the Dham. When Srila Prabhupada established the deities in London or established the deities in Paris, he gave them rather unique names, Radha London Ishwara, Radha Paris Ishwara, which is unique because Gaudiya Vaishnavas can't imagine. We might consider perhaps Krishna might leave Vrindavan. We've heard some rumors about that. Krishna going to Mathura, Krishna going to Dwarka. But we can't imagine Srimati Radharani leaving Vrindavan, even to go to Mathura. So that's a little controversial, those names with some people. But Srila Prabhupada indicated that actually everywhere Krishna is present everywhere. And wherever Radha Krishna are, that is Vrindavan. And he considered that where Radha Govinda were established in New York, that's Vrindavan. In Radha Parish Ishwar, that's Vrindavan in that temple. Radha London Ishwar, that's Vrindavan in that temple. So we have some questions in front of us. Why did Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu go to Jagannath Puri? And how is it that it seems that in Jagannath Puri, his ecstasy increased? Now, I have a question. I think I'm in this thing. I don't know how expert all of you are with using Zoom, but there's a little feature. I'm not sure where it's at. Not in your chat. Look, it's on reactions, I think. You can raise your hand. So I want to ask you to raise your hand if you've been to Mayapur before. Or raise your hand, and if I can see you in the picture, it's even better yet. Okay, at least a couple of devotees here. And okay, how many of you have been to Vrindavan? Raise your hand. Most of the same persons. Okay. So my question then for those of you who've been to Mayapur and been to Vrindavan is how many stones did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and don't be tricky Hare Krishna devotees with me and say about Krishna melting stones. How many stones did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? It's a simple question. How many stones did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu melt in Mayapur? You'll have a hard time answering it because I've never had anybody even give one example. How many stones did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, not Krishna, melt in Vrindavan? We also don't know of any. But in Jagannath Puri, I think the last I heard, because I found out about a recent one from some of my Pandit friends, which is very interesting, but I think, as I recall, there's 4 different stones that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu melted in Jagannath Puri. If you're able to go inside the Jagannath Mandir, which recently, I'll tell you an interesting thing, the governor of Orissa, he's pushing that Westerners, we'll call Bideshis, foreigners, should be allowed inside the Jagannath Mandir. And they made some video presentation of that. And ironically, on the little, they had little, like, I don't know, photoshopped picture thing for the governor's presentation was my picture and a few other persons. I don't know if we're ever going to be allowed inside in this lifetime or not. Actually, I don't mind, because it's like if I wanted to go to visit the President of the United States, I could try to sneak in, but that doesn't really mean very much. It's not very nice. In fact, it's illegal, and I'll probably end up going to jail. But if I could become invited, that would mean a lot to me. And so in the same way with the Jagannath Mandir, sometimes devotees, they tell me, well, such and such senior devotees, they snuck inside and they did this thing. It's kind of tricky. And that's nice. I'm not against that. Whatever makes you happy. But I'm waiting for Jagannath to allow me to go inside personally. So if you're able to go inside the Jagannath Mandir, just on the Garuda Stamba is a column which has a small deity of Garuda on top of it. And it was by that Garuda Stamba that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to have darshan of Lord Jagannath. And he embedded 3 of his fingerprints in that stone. They melted. He became so ecstatic having darshan of Jagannath. And by the way, they say that from that Garuda Stamba, you're not able to see Subhadra or Balaram, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is in the mood of Radha. And Radharani becomes a little shy when she sees Balaram or Subhadra. She likes to just see Krishna. And she sees Krishna, in this case, Mahaprabhu saw Jagannath as Dvibhuj Murlidhar, 2-handed Krishna. And he became so ecstatic, he melted 3 fingerprints in that column. And he also, at the same time, melted his footprints. That's the second stone he melted. And those footprints later were moved into a separate shrine. Someone, one of my Pandit friends, it's very illegal. Don't tell anybody about this. But I got some, I don't have my computer, I could show you, but they sent me some photograph. One of the Pandits was able to take a camera inside the temple, and he took a photo of those footprints, which they gave to me for a little bit of a price, I have to confess. But it was worth it. And so that's the second stone that Mahaprabhu melted. The third stone that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu melted was the Govardhan Shila, which one devotee had brought to him from Vrindavan, and Mahaprabhu melted his thumbprint in Jagannath Puri in that Govardhan Shila, which is today in the temple near Radharaman. What's the name of that temple? Radha Gokulananda temple. You can have darshan of that amazing Govardhan Shila with Mahaprabhu's thumbprint on it. And there's a fourth stone that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu melted, which, let me see here. Let me get a picture of him. I'm going to drop this picture into Ramananda, and if everybody's nice to Ramananda, maybe he'll show this picture to you. Let's see. But this is a picture of the stone. There's a deity of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu behind it. I just sent you two of them. So this is a deity. This is a stone. Some devotees call it the Prema Shila, which, there it is, good, which is in the temple known as Alarnath or Brahmagiri, which is on the outskirts of Jagannath Puri, and that's a long story about that. We're not going to go there today. But that stone previously was in front of the deity of Alarnath, and the pujaris, they say that Mahaprabhu laid down in front of the deity, and he began rolling on the stone, and you see kind of that, I don't know, roundish imprint on the top right of the stone with a yellow flower on it. They say that's where his head was. And as he was rolling, he was moving, he was melting the stone. And so there's a place for his hip, place for his knees, place for his ankles and his feet, etc. And later the stone was moved to a separate temple a few hundred years ago by one Babaji who was staying there at Alarnath. So 4 stones that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu showed in Jagannath Puri. We can go ahead and put the picture down again, I think. And but we don't hear about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu melting any other stones in any other place. So what is so special about the ecstasy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Jagannath Puri? Ecstasy, which Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami and Chaitanya Charitamrita says, Shastra Nahi Sunya, that you've never heard of this kind of ecstasy anywhere. He says, nobody's ever heard or seen anything like the ecstasy that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu exhibited in Jagannath Puri. Even his ecstasies in Mayapur or his ecstasies in Vrindavan were not like this. And sometimes in Jagannath Puri, for those of you who know Chaitanya Charitamrita, blood would come from his skin. Sometimes water would start shooting out from his eyes like water from a syringe. You know, 14, 15-year-old boys like to have these powerful squirt guns, which will shoot water for 10, 15 meters. And like that. Mahaprabhu, there was water coming out of his eyes like that. Sometimes it looked like there were golf balls or kadamba flowers underneath his skin. Sometimes his arms and legs had become elongated. It looked like he was disjointed. Sometimes his arms and legs would shrink inside of his body. We've never heard any Shastra about ecstasies like that. So then what is the nature of Jagannath Puri Dham? Understanding all these things. That's our introduction. Now, I'd like to offer some answer to our questions with you today. I want to go to, let's see, where should we start? It's a little confusing sometimes. In the Chaitanya Bhagavat, there's a description in the Anchalila about this Dham. I'm really disappointed. My computer's not working. It's very complicated to try to share things. And this is not going to work when I'm going to share this one verse or 2 verses. I'll just have to recite it by myself. Krishna Vrindavan Das Thakur speaks something about the special qualities of Jagannath Puri Dham. And he says, Seshtanir Prabhave Jyotina Dasabhumi, that the special quality of this place he says, is that Sabare Dikai Chatabuja Devagani, that all the demigods, they see everybody in Jagannath Puri as having 4 arms, even all the insects. They see them all with spiritual forms of residence in the spiritual world. So some people say then this is one of the natures of Jagannath Puri, that Jagannath Puri is like Dwarka. And we hear in Srila Prabhupada's teachings, he would often quote a verse, Vrindavana Paritiga Padikam Nagachati, that Krishna never takes even one step outside of Vrindavan. So is that true? Prabhupada said that. Krishna never leaves Vrindavan. Do all of you agree with that? Or do you disagree? Don't just listen to me and just be passive. But you should think. Do you agree or disagree? Is it true? Does Krishna never leave Vrindavan? Okay. I've read this book you guys like to promote called Krishna Book. Right? It has George Harrison's thing in the front of it, right? And in that book, there's this guy named Akrura. And he took Krishna in a chariot and they left Vrindavan and they went to Mathura. And then later Krishna went to Dwarka. So how is it that you can say that Krishna never leaves Vrindavan? Now, we do say that. In fact, it's an important part of our Gaudiya literature. It's a very esoteric principle, how Krishna never leaves Vrindavan. When Krishna seems to leave Vrindavan, our acharyas said it's not actually Krishna, but it's his Vasudeva or Vishnu expansion. And Jiva Goswami, for example, has written a beautiful book called Gopal Champu, which Banu Maharaj, God bless him, he's a wonderful scholar. He did his best to translate. That book is one of the most difficult books in the world to translate because there's so many subtle nuances and poetry and double, triple, quadruple meanings in the book and references where you would have to have a deep understanding of other different literatures to understand what he's talking about. It's a very, very difficult book to translate, but he's done a nice job, best you can. In there, he describes, Jiva Goswami says how when Krishna appeared, Vasudeva Krishna appeared in the prison of Kamsa, then Vasudeva, his father, took him across the Jamuna River to Gokul. And he describes there that actually Mother Yashoda gave birth to twins. And that's a very secret thing, which most people don't know. Mother Yashoda did not only give birth to a daughter, but she also gave birth to a little boy whose name was Nandanandan Krishna, or Gopal Krishna. And it was that Swayam Rup Govinda Krishna, that original personality of Godhead, who was born directly from the womb of Mother Yashoda. And this is also confirmed in the Harivamsa Purana. It's also confirmed in the commentaries of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Baladi Vidyabhushan, Jiva Goswami, Sanatan Goswami. It's mentioned many different literatures by different acharyas, but it's a little bit of a hidden point. And Jiva Goswami explains that Vasudeva was carrying Vasudeva Krishna there, and when he placed him on the maternity bed, by the potency of Yoga Maya, he didn't see there were twins. He only saw the little girl. He placed the boy down, and that baby boy entered into the body of Nandanandan Krishna. That baby who was born, who appeared rather, and there's a long discussion about that. I'm not going to go into those technical details right now, but that child which appeared in the prison of Kamsa was Vasudeva Krishna. It's Krishna, but it's his four-armed expansion. It's not Swayam Rup Govinda Krishna, the original Krishna. So Vasudeva took him to the house of Nanda Maharaj. Mother Yashoda was still asleep. She'd given birth to a baby, twins, and it was such a gentle birth, she didn't even wake up. We've never heard of such a birth like that. And by some of the smiles, I can see who's had children also in the group. So he placed that child, that Vasudeva Krishna down. He entered in the body of Nandanandan Krishna, and then he took the Yoga Maya Subhadra away back to Mathura, and that's a whole nother story. And then for 16 years, that Vasudeva Krishna was inside the body of Nandanandan Krishna. And when Krishna seemed to leave Vrindavan, one of the explanations, and it's just one of them, it's a big subject. We give about a 5-day seminar about how Krishna never leaves Vrindavan. It's another topic. But when Akrura seemed to take Krishna away from Vrindavan, he didn't actually take Krishna away. He only took Vasudeva Krishna. So some persons say that in the same way that Krishna never leaves Vrindavan, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu never leaves Navadvip, which is not different from Vrindavan. When Krishna seems to leave Vrindavan, it's actually Vasudeva Krishna, and Nandanandan Swayam Rup Govinda Krishna stays in Vrindavan. Some say he's hiding in the bushes. My Guru Maharaj explained that he's hiding in the heart of Srimati Radharani, and when he came out of the heart, he became Gauranga Mahaprabhu. That's another very esoteric subject matter. And Rupa Goswami has given yet another explanation as Lalita Madhav, which is very postgraduate discussion. Maybe some other time we might go into that. So some Vaishnavas say it like that. Now, I have a question. When Krishna, Vasudeva Krishna, left Vrindavan and went to Mathura, where did he stay? Now, this is a little bit of a difficult question. If you're really good with Krishna book, you'll know the answer is that he stayed in the house of one lady who had some physical deformity. Her name was Kubja. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to Jagannath Puri, where did he stay? Can anyone say? I know Ramananda Prabhu knows because we went there together. But initially, he stayed in the house of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Let me drop a picture of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's house here into our chat. That's cool. This is the way it looked, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's house. Ramananda, you can look at this picture and you can cry. This is the way it looked about 20 years ago. Were you there recently, Ramananda? Sarvabhauma's house? Let's see, I can't.
Yeah, we were there, but you weren't, and so it wasn't the same.
Did you see this latest picture I just dropped in?
I'm just wait. Oh, there it is. There it is.
It takes a minute.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Oh wow.
This is different.
So let me just kind of give you a little diagram here. You're looking on your right side, you see this picture of this kind of fatty guy. That's Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. And then on the left is the deity of Sadbhuj Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Do you remember that there, Ramananda? Where those are at? If you have your back to the deity.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's the area there. And this is what the paintings were like for hundreds of years until they hired some modern artist to come and destroy everything in the name of preservation. It really breaks my heart. You're hearing one of my pet peeves about Jagannath Puri. I'm sorry. So anyway, this is the first place where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went. And you see that wooden doorway there. You may remember, Ramananda, I don't know if they spoke about this last time we were there. Behind that wooden door, there is a hole in the ground. And they say that hole is a secret tunnel which goes to the Jagannath Mandir, and that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was going through that tunnel every day to go to the Jagannath temple. However, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu didn't stay in the Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's house. Rather, he went to the Gambhira, which is the house of Kashi Mishra. And I'm dropping a picture into Ramananda Prabhu's WhatsApp. This is a modern picture of the Gambhira. It's all white and painted. It hasn't popped up on you yet, I can see.
Mm.
It'll come in just a moment.
Yeah, as soon as it comes, I'll put that. Seems to.
So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was staying there in the Gambhira with Kashi Mishra. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to Mathura. He was staying in the house of Kubja. So who is Kubja in Krishna Lila or in Gora Lila? Kavi Khanapur has written a book called Gaura Ganadesh Deepika, and he describes there Mathurayam Pura Yasit Sarindri Krishna Vallabha Sadhya Nalachalavasa Kashi Misha Prabhu Priya. That Kubja became Kashi Mishra. And he also describes in the same book that it was Keshava Bharati who took Chaitanya Mahaprabhu away from Navadvip, and it was that Keshava Bharati who Ita Kecha Prabhasanti Akrura Keshava Bharati, who was actually a Krura in his previous life. So based on all this, some Vaishnavas, they say that just as Krishna never leaves Vrindavan, so in the same way, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu never leaves Navadvip. And if it seems like Krishna leaves Vrindavan, it's just his Vasudeva expansion. If it seems like Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu leaves Jagannath Puri, that's also just the Vasudeva expansion. So there's a picture of the Gambhira. Very good. And let's see, I'll drop another picture. This next picture, I have a really amazing, rare photo from sometime in the 1930s from a very old Bengali book that I found in Kolkata some years ago. Of the inside, as soon as you can see this, Ramananda, the inside, it hasn't come up yet, I think. Yeah, you got it now. Of the inside of this box, you see this metal box, bars on it. It's a little hard to see in the light here. Ramananda, you may recognize what's inside that box. On the left side, there's a water pot. On the right side, there's some wooden shoes. They're completely covered with sandalwood paste. That water pot was said to have been made by Jagannath Pandit with mud from Vrindavan. When he went to Vrindavan, he made that pot for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He brought it back. The shoes were said to have been made by Vishnu Priya, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Purva Ashram wife, and she sent those from Navadvip to him. And there's another little box inside which has some cloth in it, which is made by Sachi Mata, and she sent that to the Gambhira. So those items are still there today. This rare photo that I was talking about, you can see them outside. Actually, the photo is taken on the roof of the Gambhira with these three items outside of the box, a very old black and white picture. So, so based on these points that I just mentioned, this is a picture some years ago, actually. It's when it still looked very beautiful, looked really ancient, old. This is with a group of devotees from Hungary. And actually, Ramananda, I think you were part of this group at that time.
Yeah, this was November 2019.
Well, you remember better than I do. When I see that Sarvabhauma's house like that, it really makes my heart melt. This is the way I remember it. Anyway, stuff happens.
I won't share one of the recent pictures I took.
Yeah, I'll start crying. That makes me very, very depressed. So based on all this, some Vaishnavas say that this is the answer to our question, and that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu never leaves Navadvip. When he seems to leave, it's just his Vasudeva expansion, and that Jagannath Puri is something like Mathura or Dwarka. Okay, you can take the picture down so I can see everybody a little bit. And now I have a question for all of you, so we can finish our katha there. But my question is that satisfying for everybody? That our answer is that Jagannath Puri is like Mathura or Dwarka. And I gave good evidence. Does anybody not find that satisfying? You can raise your hand. Robert Green, who probably has a nice devotee name.
This is Garanganam Prabhu.
Ranganam.
I was wondering if you could go into Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to dance in front of Lord Jagannath, and he was singing like this is the same month for Chitra, the
Yeah.
same moon, the same time.
I would love to go into that sometime and to go into more Rathayatra Tattva. I'm not going to this time. I want to try to stick to what I've got. And I have another story for all of you. Ramananda knows, he's heard this katha probably, I think, from me before, at least once or probably 2 or 3 times. You've been to Puri a few times with this now. And I don't find it satisfying. Because if you say that Jagannath Puri is like Mathura Dwarka, then why did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu melt 4 stones? Oh, did I mention 4? Did I say 4? There's 5. Oh, there's also a handprint. Someone also sent me a photograph inside the Jagannath Mandir near Jagannath. When Mahaprabhu fell unconscious in front of Lord Jagannath, he melted his handprint and a bit of an arm print. That's still there. And it's 5 stones that he melted in Jagannath Puri. So it doesn't make sense. And it doesn't make sense that how his desires would be fulfilled in Jagannath Puri if he's in the mood of Radha. And you remember Radharani's comment, Yata Brindavanam Nasti, Yata no Govardhan Nasti, Yata no Jamanandadi, Tataminamana Suk. I have no happiness with these 3 things, Brindavan forest, Govardhan hill, and the Jamuna forest, Jamuna river are not found. So it doesn't satisfy me. Some Vaishnavas want to suggest like that, and that's okay. But there's something more. And to try to understand something of this now, we'd like to go to Vrindavan. And we want to go to a special place in Vrindavan, which is said to have been Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's favorite place in Vrindavan. And I'm just now sending a picture to Ramananda Prabhu. As soon as you get that, you can post it. This is a picture of a place known as Imli Tal. And this tree, you see this looks like kind of like a spaceship. This really strange, looks like aluminum foil thing or something going out of the right side of the picture. That's a metal casing that's there to protect a tree. We have a little bit of wood from that tree. That tree is 5,000 years old. It's an Imli Tal. Tal means tree. Imli means a tamarind tree. And it's said that 5,000 years ago, when Krishna was doing Ras Leela with the gopis in Vrindavan at Vamsivat, Shiman Rasa Rasanambi, Vamsivata Tatasita, Karshan Venisvanar Gopi, Gopinata Shri Maha, that Radharani became sulking. She left. When Radharani left the Ras Leela, there was no happiness for Krishna because one of Radharani's names is Rasa Biharani. She's the heroine of the Ras Leela. There's no Radha, there's no Ras Leela. So when Radharani left, then Krishna left. And he went searching for Radharani in the kunjas, in the groves of the forest on the bank of the Jamuna in Vrindavan. And as he was walking along, searching in this forest, he was crying and calling out Radharani's name, Radhe, Radhe, Radhe. Finally, not finding Radharani and feeling deep separation in his heart, Krishna sat down underneath a tree on the bank of the Jamuna. And that tree was this Imli Tal tree. And crying and calling out the name of Radhe, Radhe, thinking so much of Radharani, meditating on her in a very deep way, something amazing happened to Krishna. And his Shamavarna, his blackish complexion, became like Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi, became like Radharani. And Krishna became golden colored, thinking of Radha in that place. This was the same place, according to the book Bhakti Ratnakar by Narahari Chakravarti. This is the same place where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stayed when he went to Vrindavan. And it was Srila Bhaktisiddhanta's favorite place. He originated this Gaudiya Math temple, which you see here in the picture in front of us. And it's said that 500 years ago, when Mahaprabhu went to Puri, he came and sat underneath the same tree. And he was also crying in separation. He was also chanting. But now the mood is different. He was in the mood of Radha. And Radharani doesn't chant Radhe, Radhe. She doesn't chant her name. She chants Krishna, Krishna. and feeling deep separation from Krishna, who paradoxically is himself. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in the mood of Radha, calling out the name of Krishna, something happened. And Gora Sundar, golden complexion, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became Shama Sundar. The golden complexion went away. That golden complexion, which is the same color as Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi, Tapta Kanchana Gauranga. Mahaprabhu is the same complexion of Radha. That golden complexion disappeared because Radharani's bhajan, her prayer, her mood is so intense that Krishna can't keep away. And when Radharani begins crying like that in Vrindavan, which is the place of Milan, the place of union, there are two technical terms in Sanskrit, Viraha and Milan. Viraha means separation, Milan means union. And Vrindavan Dham is a place of union. And Radha Bhagavan Bhajasataniyas Tandava Vrindavanam. And it's in the Mangalacharana prayers of his commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam that Srinath Chakravarti Thakur, disciple of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, was given this famous verse, Radha Bhagavan Bhajasataniyas Tandava Vrindavanam, describing what is the mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And one of the things he says is that the topmost abode is Vrindavan Dham. That Vrindavan Dham is a place of union. And when Radharani's mood is manifest there, Krishna can't hide. He can't keep away. And so paradoxically, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna in the mood of Radha. But when he goes to Vrindavan and does bhajan, chanting the names of Krishna, then Krishna, he becomes Krishna. That Krishna can't hide there because that's the place of union. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu feels a little transcendentally unhappy because the purpose for which he had come to Vrindavan was not fulfilled. We can take the picture down, Prabhuji. That Mahaprabhu came there with a desire to understand the topmost mood of Radha. We've been giving a series of classes day after tomorrow. This coming Tuesday will be session number 108. We've been going on this for almost 3 years, a series called Meeting in Kurukshetra. And the last, over 60 sessions have been on the 47th chapter, the 10th canto, which is called the Brahma Ragit. And I'm mentioning this because that Brahma Ragit is the height of Radharani's ecstasy and separation from Krishna. And that was the mood that Krishna wanted to understand. Radharani's deepest mood and separation. And so for that purpose, he went to Vrindavan as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, wanting to understand that mood of Radha. But then when he arrives in Vrindavan, he's disappointed because Vrindavan is a place of union. He can't taste that mood of Radha because in Vrindavan, then he becomes Krishna. So he has a problem. His problem is that the only way that to taste Radharani's mood is in Vrindavan, because Radharani never leaves Vrindavan. But paradoxically, it has to be Vrindavan, but it can't be Vrindavan because Vrindavan is the place where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he started chanting Krishna, Krishna, then he became Krishna because it's a place of union. So he had to go somewhere that's not Vrindavan, but is Vrindavan. It's two opposites in one container. And so he left Vrindavan, he left Imlital, and he returned back to Jagannath Puri. And it's there in Jagannath Puri that Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami describes that he was able to fulfill his three desires. And in the Brihad Bhagavatamrita, which for those of you who have been to America, I don't know if I'm in Europe now, I've spent some time in Europe, but I don't know if you have Rand McNally. Rand McNally, I used to travel a lot in America, and there's a map company makes map books called Rand McNally. And Rand McNally makes a fantastic book. Every city in America, every highway, it's a giant book you can find it. So Sanatana Goswami has done a similar thing. He's made a map book of the entire spiritual and material universes. And that map book, which is a very important book, which Srila Prabhupada in his purports in Srimad Bhagavatam has recommended that devotees read. That map book is called Brihad Bhagavatamrita. And in Brihad Bhagavatamrita, the hero of the book, the hero of the story, is Gopakumar. He's traveling from one place to another and trying to find out what is the best place. And when he goes to each place, he thinks this is the best place. He goes to Vaikuntha, this is the best. Oh my God, this is the topmost place. But then he sees that everybody's like all kinds of full of fear and awe and reverence of the Lord. And so he thinks, oh, this is not good either. What's wrong with me? And then his guru, Narad Muni, comes and said, actually, there's a better place. And it's Ayodhya, and he goes to Ayodhya. Wow, this is it. This is the topmost place. But then again, he sees it's really not as sweet as the vision I have of my Gopal. No, this is not. And then Narad Muni comes and says, there's a better place. It's called Dwarka. And it was there in Dwarka that when Gopakumar was there, that he was very happy. Sometimes he would see Krishna with two hands. Sometimes he would see him with a flute and cows. But oftentimes the Brahmins were there and they were chanting Purusha Shukta, Om Sahasra Sirsa Purushaha Sahasraksa Sahasrapat, speaking about how the absolute truth has thousands of heads and thousands of arms. And Gopakumar, who's a cowherd boy, and the spiritual said, yeah, I don't really relate to this. And so then Narad Muni, like one of those guys when you go to the big city who calls you from a dark alley and asks you if you want to buy a wristwatch. He calls you into the alley. Narad Muni calls for Gopakumar. He says, hey, come here. And he tells him a beautiful verse. Kintu padesham hitam ekam hitam matashi shi purushotamakyam. He said, first of all, I have Kintu padesha. I have this bit of advice from you. He said, not very far from here is a place that you've been to before. It's called Purushottam Kshetra, Jagannath Puri Dham. And that's the same place. It's not Dwarka. So this is an important point. It's not Dwarka, but it's not far from Dwarka. And he goes on to tell him then, Tasmin Subhadra Balaram Samyutas Tamvai Vinodham Purushottamo Bhajet Chakre Sagobhadana Brindakatavi Kalinda Jatira Bhuvi Swayamayam. He said, there you'll find Krishna, Balaram, and Subhadra. And you'll find three things. You'll find the Vrindavan forest, Govardhan Hill, and the Jamuna River. Because that place is Gupta Vrindavan. So this is the answer to our question that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to Jagannath Puri because Jagannath Puri is Gupta Vrindavan. It's a hidden Vrindavan. It's Vrindavan, but it's not Vrindavan. Vrindavan is in UP, and Jagannath Puri is in Orissa. Jagannath Puri is on the bank of the ocean. Vrindavan is on the bank of the Jamuna. The Bhargavi River goes around Jagannath Puri, but the Jamuna River goes around Vrindavan. And in Vrindavan, you go to Govardhan Hill. Where is Govardhan Hill in Jagannath Puri? Where is the Jamuna? According to the Purusha Bodhani Shruti of the Atharva Veda, it's described there. This is a book which Rupa Goswami quotes also. Yata Bhagavi Jamuna, Govardhana Ratna Samasana, Vimala Sadosa Chandika Sadosa Gopyaha. That there in Jagannath Puri, the Bhargavi River, which I don't know if you went to the Bhargavi this time, Ramananda, if you went to Dandabanga.
Yeah, we went there. It was amazing. It was wonderful.
Yeah. So that Bhargavi River, according to the Purusha Bodhani Shruti, is non-different from the Jamuna River. And the Ratna Singhasan, the jeweled throne that Lord Jagannath sits on, is non-different from Govardhan. Chatak Parvik is also considered non-different from Govardhan, right there where Tota Gopinath is at. And Bimala Sadosa Chandika Sadosa Gopyaha. The 16 gopis, who are the 16, the 8 Astasakis and the 8 Astamanjaris of Vrindavan, are all manifested as the 16 different Chandis in Jagannath Puri. So Jagannath Puri is Gupta Vrindavan. And that's described in a number of different places in the Vaishnava Tantra. It's described Mathura Dwaraka Lila Yakaroti Chigokule Nilachala Stita Krishna Staeva Rachati Prabhu. That whatever pastimes Krishna performed in Mathura, in Dwarka, in Gokul Vrindavan, all those pastimes are found in Jagannath Puri Dham. And therefore, in the Brihad Bhagavatamrita, it's described again. Sanatana Goswami writes that Sri Krishna Devasya Sada Priyam Tat Ketam Yata Sri Mathurata Kaiva, that just as Mathura, Vrindavan, is very, very dear to Krishna, so also is Jagannath Puri. But there's a difference. The Jagannath Puri, Paramaishvarya Bara Prakasha Lokanusari Vyavahara Ramya. Vrindavan Dham is known as Madhurjamoyi Dham, or the place of sweetness. Navadvip Dham is known as Odarjamoyi Dham, the place of great mercy. But in Jagannath Puri, you'll find 3 qualities. The first, the outer layer, is what Sanatana Goswami addresses as Param Aishvarya, or great, great opulence. It's the Sri Mandir. And Krishna's been kidnapped by Lakshmi Devi, the goddess of fortune. And everything's very, very opulent. And it's like Dwarka there. Paramashvarya Bharap. But there's also great mercy. And Lord Jagannath comes outside in his form as Petit Pavan. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is there. And Mahaprabhu saves Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. He saves Maharaj Prataparudra. It's a place of great mercy. And there's a third quality, Lokanusari Vyavahara Ramyam. Ramyam means something very sweet. And we find in the Gambhira, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is absorbed in the mood of Srimati Radharani. So all 3 of these things are there in Jagannath Puri. And therefore, my Guru Maharaj used to say that Jagannath is a combination of 2 things. He's Aishvarya, Madhurja, Yugala Milan, Sri Jagannath. That when you combine both opulence and sweetness, that's Lord Jagannath. And that's Jagannath Puri Dham, which is Gupta Vrindavan. So I'm going to stop there. I'm sorry we went so long. And I know you're used to having some discussion. I very much like having discussions. I'm a little disadvantaged because Ramananda, he knows everybody a lot better than I do. And he has a much sweeter tongue than I do, I think also. But maybe some of you have some reflections you'd like to share with us, something that struck you, that you appreciate. As our friend Vaisheshika Prabhu likes to say, if you won a prize, if there's something that you got from today that you'd like to share with everybody. We have a few minutes for that. Otherwise, in about 15 minutes, I have another class I have to give online. It's a busy day for me today. So if anybody has any reflections or anything you want to share, something that you liked, something made you think of something else, it's very encouraging for me that I know not everybody went to sleep.
Mohini's microphone has gone off, and that's always a good sign.
Okay, Mohini, you have anything to share?
Thank you so much for this wonderful afternoon of blissful reflection on Jagannath Puri. I was most touched by a deeper understanding of the nature of Srimati Radharani and how it was manifest in Lord Chaitanya. And thank you very much for sharing your wisdom and your photographs as well. So much appreciated. Radhe, Radhe.
You know what I really wish is that all of us someday we can all walk together in Jagannath Puri, because it's just so amazing just to walk on the little streets together and meet the sadhus and the Dambasis there and hear the kirtans going on and see things going on. It's a very, very special, wonderful experience. So I hope we can all have it together someday. Thank you, Mohini. I really appreciate that. I want to put another picture here of the Jagannath Mandir.
I've been, for the last 2.5 years, we've been meeting together in this Sangha. And one thing which keeps coming up again and again and again is this strong desire that we can all go together on parikram. And I keep saying to the devotees here that I'm just praying for that day when we can take them to Jagannath Puri, because the experience that we had there a few years ago, it touched me so deeply. And when you were speaking today, I was transported back to Ishopanti Ashram, sitting at the lotus feet of Jesus Christ, and just listening to the katha again. And I could listen to it again and again and again and again. And I'm just praying for the day that all of the devotees on this Sangha, that we can arrange to go on a parikram and bring them to you so you can take them around.
Let me unpack a little bit of what Ramananda Prabhu just said. I want to reflect on his reflection. Why is it that parikrama is so special for Gaudiya Vaishnavas? In Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he says that Gora Amara Jai Sabastani, I want to go to all the places where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went. But at the same time, Narottam Das Thakur, he says that Kebala, it's just a mundane thing. There's no benefit in going on parikrama, right? And Prabhupada didn't actually encourage the devotees generally so much to go on parikrama always. He said, you do service, you do book distribution. So then what do we want to do? And you've all heard classes, people talking about when you go to Vrindavan, don't go there like a tourist, just take pictures and just go to MVT restaurant and whatever. So then what is it that we want? And intuitively, we want to go to the Dham. We want to have an experience. It's not that we want to go like tourists and try to see every single spot. That's not even possible. In many lifetimes, you wouldn't be able to see all the places in Jagannath Puri or Vrindavan or Mayapur. But what we want is we want to go on a journey of the heart. And that's a yatra. Yatra means a journey. We want to go on a transcendental journey together. And that journey is not just comprised of how many places that we see. Sometimes we go on the big parikramas in ISKCON and they have a list, and we're going to see this place and this place and this place. And devotees are disappointed. Oh, we didn't go to this place. I wanted to go to this one. Or that. That's not our purpose, actually, parikrama. It's difficult when you do parikrama with a big group, like on our big ISKCON parikramas. And we're doing it. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta wanted it. That's why we do that. But doing that is more of kind of a preaching thing. And it's something to help our bigger ISKCON group. But we like to go in small groups. We read in Bhakti Ratnakar how Shyamananda, Srinivas, and Narottam, they went on parikrama together on Braj Mandal, just 3-4 persons. I remember a few years ago, Niranjan Maharaj contacted us, and he wanted us to take him. And there was Devamrita Maharaj, Niranjan Maharaj, and Guru Prasad Maharaj, and maybe 4 or 5 other devotees. And it was one of the most wonderful parikramas, because it's a journey of the heart. And we're not just trying to see certain places, but we're trying to take off the external layer of the Dham, and see what's actually behind there. And we do that by joining together through kirtan and katha and through loving devotee relationships. And that's why I think Ramananda is stressing this, because you have such a loving sangha. And it's just natural when you have a loving group, you can travel together in kind of a giant Boeing 747 plane of consciousness. And you can enter together into the Holy Dham in a very, very special, amazing way. So yeah, I would love that, Ramananda. Something. Okay, anybody else with any other reflections or anything? Mataji? I'm sorry, I don't know everybody's name. Ekaterina.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, thank you so much for this lovely class. Very inspiring. And what really struck me is that, we always hear about Vrindavan and Mayapur, but there's not so much katha about Jagannath Puri that I hear. So it's really nice to get to know Jagannath Puri a bit better, and like how important it was to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and yeah, like it's just as important as to know that it's just as important as Vrindavan and Mayapur.
Yeah.
And yeah, thank you so much.
Can I reflect on your little comment there just a second? That sometimes a question often comes up when we speak about this. Well, what is the difference between Jagannath Puri and Navadvip? Well, Sachi Mata, who is a very great authority, she's the mother of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. She's a great authority, and she's commented, Nilachali Navadvipa Jaini Duigar, that these two places are two rooms in the same house. They're non-different. But at the same time, if you think about your house, you have different rooms in your house. You have a kitchen, you do certain things in the kitchen. You don't do the same thing in your bathroom. You have bedrooms, you have a living, we have different rooms, they serve different purposes. So what is the difference then between Jagannath Puri and Navadvip or Mayapur? Mayapur is also Vrindavan. And we hear that the Ras Leela is there. We also hear the Ras Leelas in Jagannath Puri. Where is the Rasa Stali, the place of the Ras Leela in Mayapur? Does anybody know? I'll give you a hint. The Ras Leela goes on at night. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is doing kirtan at night. Where?
Srivasangam.
Srivasangam. That's considered to be non-different from the Rasa Stali. Now in Braj, there's different Rasa Stalis. There's Vamsivat, which is considered to be what technically it's called, our acharyas said it's called Panchayati Ras. Now, for those of you from India, maybe you know the Rasa Panchayati, the Panchayat of the community. It's kind of like the open house or the, what's the word? The communal house, the place where people make decisions and things for the community. That's a Panchayat. It's like open house. And Radharani, she left the Ras Leela because she saw, what is this? There's Sadhana city gopis, there's Muni city gopis, there's all kinds of different gopis here. And it's not so nice for Krishna. We want the best for Krishna. So she left. And later there was a second Ras Leela at the place known as Chandra Sarovar near Govardhan. And that was invitation only. And that was just the Astasakis and the Astamanjris. And it was very, very thick for Krishna. So here's my question then. If that's the quality of the Panchayati Ras, which Ras is it at Srivasanga? Is it like the Panchayati Ras of Vamsivat? Or is it like the Ras Leela at Chandra Sarovar? Which is it like? Think about it. And to understand how to understand it, how to see it, we should contemplate who's there. Well, whose house is it? Srivas Thakur, he's Ardhuni. And you've got Lord Brahma who's there, is Haridas Thakur, he's there. And you've also got Lord Vishnu who's there, Lord Shiva as Advaita Charja. And not only that, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mother is coming. Now, for those men of you who are listening to this, who want to have a good marriage looking at, I can give you a little bit of advice. If you get married and you go on a honeymoon, don't take your mother with you on the honeymoon. The wife won't appreciate it, okay? So Sachi Mata being there, it's not the same. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to Jagannath Puri, there's another Rasa Stali, that's a Gambhira. And who's there? Swarup Damodar and Roy Ramananda, who are Lalita and Vishaka. It's very, very thick and condensed. So this is a difference between Mayapur and Jagannath Puri. Mayapur is Udarja Moidam, and it's a place of Mahaprabhu's eternal pastimes. It's a place of great mercy. But because Radharani's mood is akantik, is one-pointed, Vyavasayatmika buddhi ekeha kuru nandana, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also had to be one-pointed. Krishna had to be one-pointed. And he had to give, this is Radharani, gives up her family and runs in the dead of night to Krishna. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had to leave and run in the dead of night. And so he took sannyas, which means Radha Bhav. And he left his wife, he left his mother, and he went to Jagannath Puri. Does that make more sense, Katarina? Yeah? Thank you for your reflection. We have, there's somebody who wrote something in the chat, and I'm going to be seeing something later on. Is anybody else burning up with anything you'd like to share? I'm sorry, I feel a little bit like
I'm burning with anxiety. My heart's beating because I know that this sanga's drawing to a close, and I'm feeling anxiety.
Ramananda, for someone who's as introverted as yourself, you know, you could be an actor. You're very dramatic. I have to comment. You really are. Have you ever tried drama?
Yeah, when I was in school.
I bet you could do. I'm watching you.
I like public speaking. I like talking.
All right. Okay, so then if there's nobody else with any reflections or anything, then I'll let you go and I'll go on to our other group. We have a group of devotees from South Africa. We're going to speak to them something about embankment of separation in a few minutes. But I feel really, really grateful to you, Ramananda Prabhu, for reminding me of our friendship, being kind to me, and reminding me about our time in Jagannath Puri. It's a very sacred and special thing for me to be able to walk. It's the most intimate, beautiful thing I can think of, to walk with devotees to the streets in town in Jagannath Puri. It's just the best.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much for coming, and thank you for giving us your time. And please, 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 can we ask you to come again sometime?
Yeah. I would be very happy, especially if you promise to make me pancakes again next time.
Oh, Prabhu, I've already
sandwiches. That's what it was.
Yeah, well, when we're gonna be hopefully seeing you in Hungary. It's gonna be cheese on toast.
All right.
Cheese on toast.
With that promise, he's bribing me. I have motivated bhakti. All right. Thank you all very much. And thank you for letting me enter a little bit into your Sangha. You know, Sanghas are a very special and sacred thing. And it is not just a shallow thing just to be able to enter into it. You should really build your Sangha, build your community. I hear so many devotees complaining sometimes, ISKCON is this and the GBC is, and I said, man, look, you know, my life is too short to complain. Just like, not to be body conscious or something, but there's a saying in America I heard once that life is too short to dance with a fat woman. So in the same way, excuse me, life is too short to just complain about the GBC and whine and cry. I want to make my own community. Inside of Prabhupada's Seva Sangha ISKCON, I want to make my own community. I want to find that community of like-minded devotees who have a similar taste in Krishna Katha, because it's only when we come together with Krishna Katha and in Kirtan that we really can build a community. So you guys are really doing that. And thank you very much, Ramananda, for letting me take a little part in it today.
Thank you for coming, Prabhu. Thank you so very much. And hopefully we'll see you very, very soon.
Srila Prabhupada ki.
Jai.
Bhaktivinoda ki. Go Premananda.
Hari Hari Bol.
Panchakalpatarubhishcham Kripasindhubhya
Hi, thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming. Thank you, Balashwara Prabhu. We'll see you soon. Hare Krishna. Yeah, I hope this was as wonderful for you as it was for me. It's always a very, very, very special thing for me to spend time with Madhavananda Prabhu. He's such a wonderful devotee, and I know that I'm confident that we can ask him to come again before too long. We keep in touch a lot. Jagannath Puri, my wife, speaks regularly with Krishna Kund, Madhavananda Prabhu's wife, and there's a wonderful friendship there. So I'm confident that we can ask them to come again sometime soon. And there's next week I don't know, next week, two choices. I can either share with you a few things about Mayapur, because we spoke a bit about Vrindavan, and then we spoke about Jagannath Puri, and then Madhavananda Prabhu was there this week, and we can say a little something about our parikram to Mayapur. Or are you more anxious to continue with studying Nectar of Instruction? What would you like to do next week? Any votes, any thoughts or reflections? Napayani, Mohini, Katerina.
Mayapur.
Aravinda. Okay. And Anapani, go ahead.
Sorry, I'm just wittering away. Mayapur would round it off nicely.
Okay.
It would help me on my parikrama to Mayapur because I'm going on Monday. So that's going to be,
Monday.
so literally on Sunday, I'll be traveling to London. So then I can listen on the bus.
Oh, wow. So next, I'm trying to change my view here, but I don't know how to do it. Anyway, it's not the end of the world. So this time next week, you'll be traveling to London.
Yeah.
Wow. So will you be able to listen in if you're traveling?
Yeah. I can put it on my phone on the bus and stuff. So.
Oh, you're getting the bus down there.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And then, so Monday, so a week tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh. So tell us about your plan. What's the plan for the Parrot Where is
So
it?
the plan is going to Kolkata and then we get in at like 1 a.m. to Kolkata on the Tuesday, and we're going to travel, get a taxi to Mayapur, and then we're staying in Mayapur from the Tuesday till the 17th. 16th, 17th. And so we're then traveling to Vrindavan, and we're staying there till the end of the month, till 28th.
If you do get a chance, rather than getting a taxi from Calcutta to Mayapur, find out about the Prabhupada boat, goes up the Ganges, and driving on roads is a nightmare in India. But you just like go dead quick, costs about the same, but you can go on a boat.
Thanks.
Jaladuta it's called. Ask about the Jaladuta.
Who is it you're going with, Kat? Is it devotees from Wales?
From Wales, yeah. The whole temple.
Oh, wow. Fantastic. So Jagannath Prabhu, is he sort of leading?
Yeah.
Right. And you'll probably meet with Shivramaraj when you're there.
Yeah, and also Mahatma Prabhu will be in Vrindavan when we're there. So I'm gonna send him a message and see when, like, what his plan is, and then maybe he's gonna go on like parikrams, and then we can join as well.
That's great. Yeah. So next Sunday we can say a little something about Mayapur. That'd be great. Any more? Did anyone want to share any more sort of reflections about today's program, about some of the things that you heard or things that really struck you? I know that you've already shared some reflections with Madhavananda, and part of me thinks, okay, let's finish up now. Part of me just doesn't want to stop. But it was a wonderful, really wonderful katha. But any other sort of last reflections on anything that anyone wants to share? About anything. Otherwise we can sort of start winding down. I personally asked Krishna Kund that if any of the devotees felt inspired, because Madhavananda just gives himself freely to everything and never asks for anything in return. But I know that they have this project, which is the Gora project that he just mentioned briefly right at the very, very beginning. So I'm going to get from Krishna Kund details that if anyone would like to give a little donation, even if it's just £5 or £10 or something like that, just as a reciprocation for Madhavananda Prabhu's coming and spending time with us, then I'll send those details to anyone that wants them. And then anyone that wants can just give a little donation if they feel inspired. But don't feel that you have to. I know that even a little donation can be a lot sometimes. I know some of us are sort of struggling in different ways, but if anyone feels inspired and if anyone would like to, I'll put the details up on the WhatsApp group, but if anyone wants to also send me a private message, just getting the details, and I can make sure that you have those just in case anyone wants to. But don't feel any pressure. No need to feel any pressure about that. And so it was wonderful. And I'm going to reach out to a few of the devotees over the next few months. I already have a few in mind. So hopefully over the next year, 2023, we can have a few special guest speakers over the course of the year and have some nice association. In the meantime, you'll have to put up with me again next week. And we'll speak about Mayapur. We'll say something about Mayapur next week. And then the week after that, we can continue our long delayed dive into the nectar of instruction with Ashamrita. We can continue with that journey. And then we'll see where our journey takes us as 2023 opens up. Okay, so thank you all so very, very much. It was wonderful seeing everyone here, and thank you all for coming. And I will see you next week.
Thank you.
So have a great week, and we'll see you soon. And as always, if there's anything I can do, please get in touch. Yes.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. See you all soon.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.